Rome. For centuries, it was the greatest city on earth, a shining monument of power, built to last forever. But by the end of the 1st century, the capital was rotting from the inside out. A hidden crisis flowed right through its veins, a network of corruption that threatened to bring the entire city to its knees. While emperors were busy building monuments to their own glory, Rome was literally dying of thirst. This is the story of the man who waged a war, not on some distant battlefield, but in the dark, crumbling aqueducts beneath the city. It's the story of how one man's engineering genius saved an empire from itself. Number 1. The problem: a city poisoned by corruption. The aqueducts were the arteries of Rome. For 500 years, this network of 11 massive channels brought life-giving water from sources up to 57 miles away. They were true marvels of engineering that powered a metropolis of 1 million people, feeding its lavish baths, ornate fountains, and private villas. To the Romans, flowing water wasn't just a utility. It was a symbol of their power to tame nature itself. But by the year 97, that system was bleeding. The lifeblood of Rome was being siphoned off by a cancer of corruption and neglect. The aqueducts were old and leaks were everywhere, especially in the underground sections that were a nightmare to access and repair. But the real problem wasn't just decay, it was theft on an industrial scale. All along the countryside, wealthy landowners would just illegally puncture the aqueducts, diverting public water to their private fields and luxurious estates. Inside the city, crooked plumbers installed unauthorized pipes known as punctae to steal water for their businesses and rich clients. This was so widespread that the official records on water delivery were a complete joke. The amount of water actually reaching the city's public fountains was just a fraction of what it should have been. For the average Roman on the street, this meant the public fountains were barely trickling. The system that was meant to serve everyone, rich and poor, was failing. Rome, the master of the world, was facing a threat not from a barbarian army, but from the greed eating away at its own foundations. Number 2. Introducing the hero. The general takes a new command. In this moment of crisis, Emperor Nerva needed someone with rock-solid integrity and a proven track record. He found his man in Sextus Julius Frontinus. Born around 40 CE, Frontinus was the definition of a Roman success story. He was the total package: a decorated soldier, a respected politician, and a brilliant administrator who had served the empire for decades. He started in the military and rose to the rank of general. As governor of Britain, he did what many before him couldn't. He finally conquered the fierce Silures tribe in Wales. That campaign took more than just brute force. It required incredible strategic skill in brutal terrain. This was a man who understood logistics, discipline, and how to get a job done. After his military victories, he held some of Rome's highest offices, serving as consul 3 times, an incredible honor that showed just how respected he was. So, in 97 CE, Nerva gave the old general his most difficult command yet. He was appointed curator aquarum, the superintendent of aqueducts. Now, this wasn't some quiet retirement gig. It was a frontline command in the battle for Rome's very survival. The position was a mess, buried in corruption. Frontinus was being asked to wage one last war. Only this time, his enemies weren't foreign tribes. They were Rome's own elite. His battlefield wasn't a forest in Britain, but the dark, sprawling tunnels of the aqueduct system. Number 3. The investigation and discovery. Walking the lines, Frontinus approached his new job with the cold precision of a general surveying a battlefield. He didn't trust the official records. He knew they were garbage, so his first move was to see the problem for himself. He decided to walk the lines of the 9 major aqueducts, from their sources in the distant hills all the way to the city. He also ordered the entire system to be mapped in detail for the very first time. He needed to know what he was dealing with before he tried to fix it. It was a massive job. He and his team measured the flow rates at the start of each aqueduct, calculating exactly how much water should be entering the system. Then he compared those numbers to the delivery records in the city. The difference was staggering. Huge amounts of water were just disappearing. His investigation uncovered the true scale of the fraud. He found hundreds of illegal pipes, some of them shockingly large, siphoning off public water. And this wasn't just a few farmers trying to get a little extra for their crops. This was an organized crime ring involving wealthy estate owners, powerful officials, and opportunistic plumbers. The practice was so old and so accepted that many just saw the stolen water as their right. Frontinus documented everything. He noted that water rights were supposed to be granted by the emperor and couldn't be sold or passed down, but that rule was ignored everywhere. He found out that official water grants were handed out without any real authority. And the plumbers, the aquarii, were constantly being bribed to install pipes much bigger than what the paperwork said, using a simple unit of measurement called the quinaria to hide their fraud. His meticulous survey revealed a system that wasn't just physically broken, but morally bankrupt. He wasn't just a water commissioner anymore. He was an investigator, exposing a conspiracy against the Roman people. Number 4. The climax, the reforms and De Aquis Urbis Romae. Having identified the enemy, Frontinus launched his counterattack. He put together his own trusted team of engineers and began a systematic campaign of repairs and enforcement. He ordered the destruction of thousands of illegal taps, cutting off the water to powerful estates that had been stealing it for generations. Think about it. This was a direct shot at the rich and powerful. But Frontinus, with the emperor's full backing, didn't flinch. He didn't just plug the leaks and punish the thieves. He overhauled the entire administration. He created strict oversight for all maintenance workers and made sure every single pipe was stamped with its owner's name, making it much harder to hide theft. He standardized the sizes of pipes and nozzles to make sure every drop of water was accounted for. But his greatest weapon was information. To make sure a crisis like this never happened again, he wrote everything down in a 2-volume report for the emperor called De Aquis Urbis Romae, on the waters of the city of Rome. This wasn't just some dusty government report. It was the ultimate guide to the Roman water system, part history, part engineering textbook, and part legal manual. He detailed each aqueduct's history, length, capacity, and even the quality of its water. He laid out all the laws, the duties of his own office, and the best methods for maintaining the system. He wrote it, as he said, for his own guidance and for his successors, so no one would ever have to start from scratch like he did. De Aquis was revolutionary. It was basically a declaration of war on corruption. He was saying, this water belongs to the people of Rome, and it will be managed with transparency and skill. By putting it all on public record, Frontinus fought corruption with knowledge. Number 5. The impact and legacy, the overlooked genius. The results were immediate and dramatic. With the illegal taps gone and the leaks repaired, the amount of clean water flowing to Rome's public fountains surged. The health and sanitation of the entire city improved almost overnight. The reliable flow of water that had been a symbol of the early empire was back, securing the stability of the capital. But Frontinus's legacy goes even deeper. His book, De Aquis Urbis Romae, is one of the most important technical documents to survive from the ancient world. It was actually lost for centuries. Then in 1425 it was rediscovered in a monastery, and it became the guide for Renaissance engineers who were trying to rebuild Rome's water systems. Thanks to that book, we know more about Rome's water supply than almost any other part of its civil government. And yet, Frontinus himself is a strangely overlooked figure. We often remember him for his military books, but it was his work as water commissioner that truly changed the course of history. He was a man of profound practicality. He had this amazing dismissal of the pyramids, basically calling them useless, famous trophies. For him, the Roman aqueducts were far more magnificent because they actually did something essential. He wrote, "With such an array of indispensable structures carrying so many waters, compare, if you will, the idle pyramids or the useless, though famous, works of the Greeks." For Frontinus, true greatness wasn't a monument for the dead. It was life-sustaining infrastructure for the living. Sextus Julius Frontinus was more than a soldier or a politician. He was a systems thinker, a reformer, and a public servant who understood that an empire's real strength isn't just its armies, but the integrity of its public works. He saw a system about to collapse, and with logic, grit, and incredible courage, he fixed it. He proved that a city's greatness isn't just measured in monuments and conquered lands, but in the clean, clear water that keeps its people alive. One man's battle in the dark tunnels beneath Rome ensured the city's heart would keep beating for centuries to come. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of Roman history's hidden figures, make sure you subscribe and ring that bell for more stories of ancient engineering and forgotten genius. And let us know in the comments which Roman innovator we should talk about next. Thanks for watching.